Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Today I just wanted to give a update on term 1 of our homeschool, just kind of an update on where we are with curriculum and what we're using and what we've changed and things coming up for the next term. If you want to see the homeschool curriculum that we're using for 5th grade, 8th grade, and 11th grade, I can leave those links down below to the videos, as well as our family studies are included. I do also have a blog post that has everything listed out with links just to make it all in one and really easy to just view quickly. And then you can kind of see maybe where we've shifted a little bit, or even just take a closer look at what we're using to see if it's a good fit for your family. So I took some notes and we'll give you a brief update on what we're using and how it's going for each thing. So for my 5th grader, I'll start with the youngest to oldest and then family studies. My 5th grader is going through Exploring Creation with Zoology 2. It's one of the newer updated versions for Apologia, and it's in full color. The textbook is really beautiful. My daughter and my son have really loved the elementary series for Apologia Science, especially any of the updated versions with the beautiful photographs and detailed descriptions. It really dives deep into each subject, which I appreciate, and everything is from a biblical worldview. The updated student notebooks are really colorful and engaging as well, and my daughter has been using Apologia for so many years. Like, we were doing it family style for a while and doing everyone on the same subject. We've used Zoology 1, 2, and 3 as a family, although my youngest daughter was very young and not schooling with us yet at the time when we did Zoology 2, so which is why we're using it now with her. We have used chemistry and anatomy and earth science last year. So my 5th grader is very familiar with Apologia's format, the structure, so she runs with that curriculum so independently. She knows what to do. I just check her notebook once in a while. The cool thing is she comes to me showing excitement for what she's learning, and she'll bring the textbook over and just want to show me the pictures and, ooh and ah over what she's learned. So that's a great indicator of her enthusiasm for the subject, that the curriculum is a great fit for her and things are going well. Her notebook is beautiful. All the pages are just full of the facts that she's fascinated by, along with some graphic organizers that are helping her to process the information even more. Along with that, we ordered the lab kit that goes along with it. Nature's Workshop Plus creates lab kits in line with Apologia curriculum. So everything is in little bags that are labeled like lesson 1, and all the supplies that you need that are harder to find are in those bags. They leave out some normal household items, but we've never run into an issue where we didn't have anything. Those make it great if you want your child to walk towards independence in science labs, which I do. Those have been game changers as far as she's able to find the lesson that she's on, pull the supplies she needs, and conduct those experiments herself. And that has helped throughout our years of homeschooling. Also, just finding Apologia early on and then sticking with it has also benefited our family as far as knowing the structure. And normally if we use something for too long or year after year, I personally would get bored, but my kids are not bored, and I'm not going through every lesson. With my daughter in Zoology 2, which is all about ocean, swimming creatures, she is going through it and she's incredibly engaged. So that has been working for us very well, and she's building her ocean box slowly. Each lesson you kind of build a little bit more into the ocean box. So by the end of the year, she's going to have a fully constructed, filled ocean with sea creatures, which is really exciting to see come together. For math, we made a pivot. So I was planning, I want to say I shared Apologia level 6. So she finished Apologia 5 sometime last year and started with curriculum I had on hand. So I've had some leftover things that either my older kids didn't use or a company sent it to me. So I had The Good and the Beautiful's level 5 math. It's this one, Simply Good and Beautiful Math 5. This is the course book here that she uses. So I had this on our shelves, and when I realized that, I was like, let me have you actually use this for now because it is level 5 and she's grade 5, and then I'll save Apologia level 6 for when you're done with this one. So she started this sometime in the summer, so there's a chance she might be done earlier in the year, and then I always kind of keep a math going throughout the summer, so we're rolling through. So she mixes this math curriculum along with Right Start Math, which we have been using for years. We kind of toggle back and forth. So the days I'm not as busy for work or with my other kids, then I will do Right Start with her because that's more of a teacher intensive program. And then she will do Simply Good and Beautiful Math on the days that I am busier, and that is fully independent. They have this like QR code, so she'll scan that on the iPad, watch the teaching video, and then do the work. I'll just check it at the end of the week. So that has been working well for us so far, and then we will move back to level 6 of Apologia when she's done with this one. For language arts, we are continuing with things that we have used for years. She is working through learning language arts through literature, the TAN book, and a lot of the literature that they suggest are books that she's already read or we have used as read-alouds in the past. So for some of those books, we'll skip the book study that's within that section, but she'll do the rest of the lessons. And for just reading literature, I'm having her go through some books I find like through online searches or Stories of Color website or the Generations suggested book list for middle schoolers. And I will link that below. It's been a great source of stories. My daughter really, really likes the stories from Generations. They are the unedited versions, so anything that has faith in it, a lot of times they're edited out for mainstream consumption, but Generations leaves it as is with the faith content within. Those have been really helpful. She just pulls it off the shelf and starts reading it. It's nice to have like a series or something that you trust or know you want your student to read. If you can have like a little space dedicated to that, that's helped me a lot with if you have a voracious reader where they read books really fast and they're done really fast and they're like, what do I read next? Here's a book. For a time, I just wasn't prepared. I didn't have enough to fulfill that appetite. So having a shelf for her that's like, these are books you can choose from has been really helpful and efficient for me. So she just knows when she's done, she has the next one to choose. She's also working through IEW, which I have been using for over a decade between all 3 of my kids. So she's doing level SSS 1B along with Fix It Grammar. That's something again that she has used from the beginning. So she just knows what to do. We're also doing the online class. So that's a course that she has an online lesson once a week, and then she submits her work and then the teacher will assess it, grade it. And I love that because it's really hard for me to grade or like judge writing. They do require parents to go in and help make edits and proofread it, which I do, and then she submits it for her teacher. That's something that's been really helpful for like 3rd, 4th grade starting because it already has her comfortable and familiar with working with another teacher, listening well to their instruction and their requirements for the paper, and then following it. There's like a nice checklist that she goes through to make sure she includes all the things that they went over, proofreads her paper, goes through the edits with me. So there's like this process that has been really healthy and great for just building good student habits. She also is involved in performing arts. She loves acting and dancing and also is learning how to play piano. We have piano lessons once a week. Now for history, we are using this Beautiful Feet books, Modern American and World History. Big fan of Beautiful Feet books for many, many years. This is a study we've never done. This is designed for, I believe, 5th through 8th grade. So I am using it for both my 5th and my 8th grader, which has worked out really great. I'm hoping that we can do something like this again next year when they're 6th and 9th. I believe it's still will be fine to combine. And these are the books that we've read so far across 5 Aprils. These are the recommended books for this course. This was a hard one for me in the beginning to get into until towards like halfway, but I really had to push myself with this one. While I was reading aloud, I was thinking like, oh, this is so hard to follow. And there's a lot of accents and kind of old dialect. So it was a little harder for me to read, but we got through it. And by the end, we really enjoyed this story. This one is Carver, A Life in Poems. We read this one. It's all poetry and beautifully written. I really enjoyed this one. Theodore Roosevelt, Genevieve Foster. We normally really like Genevieve Foster books. This one was hard for all of us. I'll do like a mix of sometimes reading aloud the Beautiful Feet books, and some of them I will just assign them the reading. So like chapters 1 through 3, and then they'll take turns reading it throughout their school day. Both my kids had a hard time with this book. Not complaining, but just saying like it was a little harder to read. It wasn't as engaging. And then Escape from Slavery. I read this one aloud. This was easier to get through and engaging, and it's in his own words. It's the boyhood of Frederick Douglass in his own words. So that was like eye-opening, and we all had a lot of discussion and compassion for him. The next one they're currently reading is called The Wright Brothers, Pioneers of American Aviation. It's a landmark book, part of the Landmark book series, and they're reading this independently. It's like 3 chapters each lesson. The words are really big though. Like this. Both of my kids separately told me that they love this story. My daughter's reading ahead because she can't wait. She needs to know what's happening. I'm almost curious to read this. I have not read this, but both separately, which is kind of rare, to rave about this story and how much they like it, and just kind of saying it randomly, you know, not me asking, how do you like this book, but them coming to me and like, I really like this story. It's exciting. So I'm very tempted to read this book too. And that's where we're at right now. So there are extra readings in here. So like this, I would do these types of readings just before we do the lesson. We're also working on the timeline that they provide as well. It's just a visual timeline of some of these important events that we're reading about, going through some of the discussion comprehension questions in here, which I really appreciate. I am not going through, there's like some vocabulary. I haven't been doing that. And I have not been doing recipes. This is Charlotte Russe. Beautiful. But we did not actually make it. I love these extra steak, porterhouse steak. But I really appreciate how this is organized and the books that they have us reading to really dive into the time period. And I have some extra books that I picked up from Christian Book that we are reading as like family read-alouds, or planning to read as family read-alouds that coincide with the time period. So kind of just immersing ourselves in that. I also have a study about the Holocaust from Campfire curriculums that once we get to World War II, I'm going to pause and then dive into that study. I will get into Campfire in a bit. I have a little more to say about that. So bringing us, since I'm doing history with both my 5th and my 8th grade, I'm going to just kind of segue into 8th grade. So that's history for him. He's also taking pre-algebra with High School Math Live, and that has been really a great online class for him. He took pre-algebra, which I was so thankful for last year. He's familiar with the format of that live class and how to turn in your work and all that. Once you start signing up for like online courses and different vendors, learning their process, the platforms they use, logins and portals and all those things, that is a learning curve, or was for us each time. Once you get it, it just makes each year a lot more smooth, and it won't always be difficult. Just remember that when you start. For language arts, he's using IEW, SSS 3B, and Fix-It. Grammar, he's again gone through IEW for so many years, so used to the format. We're very comfortable with the daily work. This will probably be his last year with IEW. In high school, I'm going to move on to some online courses, which I haven't yet decided for him. He's also working through learning language arts through literature. Again, this will be his last year with that program, and he is in the Gray book. Smooth sailing for that as well. For science, he is using Exploring Creation with Physical Science, and he is doing the self-paced course with Apologia. And this is his 2nd year using self-paced. We started with general science, so basically like 7th grade and 8th grade, their middle school curriculum. We signed up for their self-paced course, and that really made a huge difference. He loves audio and visual support, and he learns well that way. So the videos and the audiobook reading has been great. That's a subject he'll come to me, and similar to my daughter, come and want to share facts that he's learned. And he's like in the middle of studying the periodic table and just very excited about that. And he's like, I think I'm going to try to memorize it like on his own. And I just really appreciate how the enthusiasm that Apologia has for science is very contagious to my kids. It's very evident. He has the student notebook as well and is working through that. That's where I check his work. He'll do a study guide and take the tests online. And then he also has the lab kit for his curriculum from Nature's Workshop Plus, and he has been completing his labs on his own as well. So that's history, math, language arts, and science. He's also taking piano lessons. That's something that has really lit a fire of passion, and he started playing on the worship team at the junior high ministry at our church. I think he has found something that really lights him up, and that's just a joy to see as a mom. And I didn't expect that. He didn't start lessons until he was 13. Before that, we did Mr. Hoffman piano online, which was really great. He finished that course pretty quick, but I didn't realize how much he really liked it until after he finished the course and was asking for more. I can leave a link for that as well, because I know a lot of people are looking for like how to start with piano or don't want to invest in like in-person lessons because they are pricey. But this course is affordable, it's self-paced, so if you want to dabble and see, or just see if your child is interested in it, learn the basics, then I would highly suggest Mr. Hoffman's. He also dances hip-hop dance and is part of a breaking crew as well. So on to high school. I have a daughter in 11th grade and she's mostly working through online courses, mostly live. So the first one is AP Lang, and that is with AP Homeschoolers. She really likes their courses, and she took an honors English language arts course in 9th grade, did something else, loved it. It was a lot of work, so I was pretty shocked that she loved it as much as she did. 10th grade, she went with something else because it's not approved by our charter, so she had to do a little extra work to get that course approved. So because of the extra work, I kind of convinced her, like, why don't you try this one? It's a little easier, and just at face value, it's approved. She hated it. She hated that year, so she went back to AP Homeschoolers for 11th grade for AP Lang, and she loves it a lot, and I'm just glad that she figured that out for herself, willing to do extra work to take a course that she actually loves. And that encourages me because that's the point, right? Is you just want to love learning, you want to be engaged, be challenged, and she's really enjoying that course so far. For math, she's continuing with High School Math Live. She's taking an honors pre-calc course online twice a week. There's homework and quizzes, and she's comfortable with that format and the platform, so that's been smooth as well. She just finished a macroeconomics course through a community college, so she dual enrolled for that course, and then somewhere in the winter, spring, we're gonna sign her up for a government course. I think we're gonna do a micro econ class either in the summer or in the fall of next year, but that's where she's at. She finished that course, did really well. And then for science, she's taking AP Physics with AP Homeschoolers as well. And that's a course that she said is super hard. I actually never took physics in high school, so I have no idea. But friends of mine say it's a really challenging course, and I give her credit because I don't know what she's learning or how she's doing it, but she's hanging in there. She's hanging in there with AP Physics and just really trying her best. It's taking a lot of diligence on her part to study and to keep up with the course. One of the things that she started doing was, we have a bunch of like blank journals, so she got one out and beautiful like gel highlighters from Mr. Penn, and we already had these things, but she pulled those out and just told me, I'm gonna take really aesthetically beautiful notes just to motivate myself to study. So I appreciate that so much. Just her trying to find ways to make something unpleasant more pleasant, and something that is hard for her to make it a little more enjoyable for her, just by taking beautiful notes. And her notebook is just beautiful. Like, all the terms are nice and highlighted in these pastel colors, and it's just really cute. She's also dancing quite a bit on a dance team, and she is taking driver's training. So I didn't realize you put that on your transcript, but they did put driver's ed and driver's training on her transcript, so she's getting a few credits for that. But that is a slow, ongoing process that will take some time to master. We did sign her up for AP exams at local high schools. It was a little challenging to do, but we were able to figure that out. She will take AP Lang and AP Physics exams in the spring. She also recently took the PSAT at a Christian academy that was kind enough to let us take it there. It's not mandatory at all the schools anymore, but it's just something that we thought, let's take it. She's college bound, and let's see where we're at. And yeah, I'm not opposed to testing. I feel like it's not the most accurate measure of anything, but we do like to see where we are in terms of like standardized testing. So that's my 3 kids, like individual curriculum. Now family studies, just an update of where we have been. I used to go all out and have this great morning time, family style, maybe an hour and a half around the table together and reading such great things and learning such great things together. Amazing memories from that time that I want to preserve that as much as possible, but I'm finding it challenging. I explained this in a few other videos, but it's challenging to continue on when your kids are in high school and doing a lot more rigorous, advanced academic courses. One of the ways I've adapted and will continue to reassess and adapt is I didn't want to give up the width, the depth, and limit the great topics that there are to study and that I would love to cover with my kids. So what I had to do is let go of the idea that you finish a curriculum or a book in a school year. Some of these things will take years. to finish. And that's okay because they are still good and worthy of our time. First, I filter out through like what is really worthy of our time. What are things that I want my kids to learn and spend a little time on. And then from there, we're okay with the books that we've chosen and we'll take our time as long as it takes. We'll get there, even if we don't finish. And then always incorporate some kind of read aloud. So we have options and resources. They're going to last us for quite a while. So one thing is we are all doing our own Bible study this year. So instead of a family Bible study, which we've done in years past, this year we're doing individual Bible studies. Although my kids are doing the same Bible study, they're using Not Consumed, a series, faithfulness series that we're going through one book at a time. They're doing that separately, although it's the same study. We also have a subscription to World Watch News for current events, and we're not watching it every day, but we're watching it on the days that we have a little more time. Those are just 10-minute videos, but 10 minutes of a very busy high schooler's life is more precious nowadays. So World Watch News on some days. I'm also using Music Appreciation from Beautiful Feet Books. Let me pull that out. This study here, this is the teacher guide, and we are going through this slowly. We started this last year, so this is our second year in it. Not even halfway yet. Read maybe one lesson a week or one lesson every 2 weeks. We're doing this adorable basic Spanish, and this is really designed for younger kids, but my family they're just so silly and have a lot of fun with it that we are keeping it going. Same once a week or once every 2 weeks. This worship study we've been using this is our second year we're using it, and we are a quarter to a third way. So this is once a week that we're using this one. Foundations in Worship, and those are worship songs and the background behind it, or like deeper meaning of each verse of a song, and then also looking at a Bible passage that it coincides with. We are reading from this book one section a week. This is World Religions and Cults Volume 1. I only got one volume because I know myself and I wanted to make sure that we really are enjoying this before we bought. I think there's like 4, maybe 3 books altogether. We just started this one this year, and we're about, I don't know if you can see the bookmark, we're only about right here. One thing that is one of my favorite things and my kids' favorite things this year, we're going through this Passport to Adulthood. It is with the skills of a life navigator from Campfire Curriculums, and I just have to say, it's just one of the best things that we've been reading together. All of my kids really enjoy this and are finding a lot of value in the time that we read it together, touching on different things that we haven't really talked about before. So I like that there's like new topics. And also we're doing a finance curriculum called Beyond Personal Finance. It's a video-based curriculum, so we're watching videos, and then there's a notebook, and it was pricey for me, so I only got one notebook, which makes it a little harder, but we're making it work, and I can talk more about that if you want. For any of these things that you're seeing, if there's anything that you have questions on, leave me a comment below. I'd love to answer any questions you might have about any of these things. There's a chance that you have been curious about different curriculum that I'm talking about or showing you, but maybe have a couple questions on it. So we have been using these things all of term 1 long enough to have an opinion and maybe be able to answer your questions. So please leave that in comments below. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to doing like in-depth reviews of things unless it's like wildly in demand. Just time-wise, videos have been a lot harder to sit down, find time alone to be able to record these things with very busy kids. We are going to start this Advent study very soon, longing for Christmas. So my plan is we're going to get some decor up and get ready for Christmas and start this devotional. So this is intended for teenagers, which is one of the reasons I wanted to get it, and I picked this up at christianbook.com. Our read aloud. So I started this one. I think I talked about this one. Very exciting. Cannot wait to get back to this because we paused because this book came in. I have a reel on my Instagram all about this book. The author is Karina Yan Glasser, and she wrote the Vanderbeeker series. So if you loved the Vanderbeeker series, which we did, if you haven't read it yet, great read aloud. The one, the Vanderbeekers on 141st Street, I think it's called. A great read aloud to start during like November, December, Christmas time. Such a sweet story. My girls especially loved this series, and we have the entire series. It's like one of those on rotation where they get read over and over. Same author wrote this new title. So once Harper Kids sent me this book to write a review about, I switched over to this one. One, I knew my girls would not be able to wait. My youngest could not wait. She was like, can I just read it on my own and then we'll read it later together? But I wanted to read it together. So we switched over to this one. We're on chapter 15. We're going to read this first because my kids couldn't wait. And then we're going to go back to this one. Both of these books are amazing. I highly recommend. I'm going to link some of our favorite read-alouds below because we have some really good ones that we have read. Books that your kids will want another chapter. You know, they're like, can I have another chapter? And usually what I do is say you have to wait till tomorrow because I just want to leave them wanting more, and I need to preserve my read-aloud voice for the other things that we have to read as well. So I also have, speaking of read-alouds, I have a meeting time with each of my kids. So now it's down to once a week. It used to be twice a week, but because I'm adding in my youngest daughter into this mix, it's down to once a week. And it doesn't always happen. Some weeks are skipped due to busy schedules, but I try my best to keep this appointment. So in my planner, I have a section called Meeting with VIPs. So those are like when I read with my very important people. So we are reading just once a week. So it's taking longer to get through books, but I'm good with that, just being diligent and faithful to our meetings. With my 16-year-old, I'm reading How to Read a Room, Navigate Any Situation, Lead with Confidence, and Create an Impact at Work. So it is more about work situations, but we always kind of alter it to talk about, you know, when you're with your friends at school or church or even family, how to navigate this. And so that's the book I'm reading with my 16-year-old. With my 13-year-old son, we are like on the very last pages, but The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. We really like this book. My oldest daughter read this and she is asking when we're done because she wants to read this again. And it's just so full of great practical tips for anyone, really. I love reading it with my son. So if you have a recommendation of what to read next with my son, he's reading Practical Happiness with my husband, and they really like that book, but I need my next book to read with my son. I have this one on hand called Relational Intelligence, and I wasn't sure if I'd read this with my son or my daughter, but the people skills you need for the life of purpose you want. An action plan for increasing your relational skills and understanding, packed with insights and strategies you can apply immediately. A very practical book, it sounds, and this was recommended by someone on Instagram. So I have that on hand. But if you have any suggestions for what to read with a teen boy, I am excited to hear some suggestions. And then I have this from when my oldest was like 10, 11, 12. I forget the age, but this is from The Good and the Beautiful, Maturation and Sexual Reproduction, a unit study. So this is old, and I know that they have updated this since then for sure. I've seen, we have the vocabulary words all cut out here. So they have an updated version that's probably a lot nicer, but I have this on hand, so I am starting to go through this with my youngest, and we will do that just once a week as well. And if you can figure out how to fit in a one-on-one time if you have multiple kids, highly recommend it, especially in these like middle school and high school years. I started when my oldest was in middle school, and I feel like it's one of the best decisions we've made in our homeschool. When you have multiple kids, it's really great to do family subjects, combine as much as you can, save time and energy and money. However, that one-on-one time, especially when they are maturing a lot, growing a lot physically and emotionally, to have that time set aside for having that safe space, allowing room for their voice, being a good listener as a mom, those are things that don't come naturally for me, and we wouldn't just have the time to talk even though we are together quite a bit. There's always other people in the room. So I know it's so different when you're one-on-one versus, you know, 3 people in a room. It just makes a difference, and there's like an intimacy and a safety, setting that time aside for them. And my kids have learned that that is their time. So like when they have something they want to talk to me about or bring up, they know they can save it for that time. So it's been a blessing. I highly encourage that. I do have a book list of books that we have read in our one-on-one time. I can link those down below if you want to peruse and see if there's anything that you might want to start with your child. So that's pretty much all the updates I have for term 1. In the next term, I am planning, we'll see, but I'm planning to continue on with these things and and leave a tiny bit of room for a Christmas study, but not as big of space as we used to in the past. In the next term, I'm also looking to select things for the next school year, believe it or not, just because a lot of the online courses start registration in like February and March. And I just want to be prepared that knowing what we want before a course gets sold out, because some of them do sell out or get booked up really quick. So if I have a good idea, have done all my research, I want to be ready come February. So probably December, January, I'm going to spend some time going through each child and writing a rough draft of what we want to do for next year. And again, if you have any questions about anything that I showed or talked about today, leave a comment down below. I will be sure to get back to you, and I will see you in the next video.